Eala reacts to having to face Coco Gauff again at Indian Wells. Eala once again showcased her undying spirit earlier today, coming from a breakdown in the third set to defeat Diana Yastremska. It was a grueling encounter, pitting the hard-hitting Ukrainian against the relentless Filipina sensation. And once again backed by a wild crowd, the latter came out on top. As a reward for her triumph, Eala will now be tasked with trying to overcome Coco Gauff once again, less than a month after losing heavily to her in Dubai. The 20-year-old has spoken about the prospect of facing the top-ranked American in California. Eala discusses having to face Coco Gauff again at Indian Wells. Chatting at her press conference following her hard-fought win, Eala was in high spirits. However, she kept her cards close to her chest when discussing her upcoming match against Gauff, having been heavily beaten last time out, 6-0, 6-2. She began by insisting she was excited about the prospect, noting, "No, I'm excited, like I said the other day when you asked me. It was a tough match for me last time. I think she played really well. So all I can do is take the learnings that I have from our last match and try to implement that in our next one, yeah." Eala would then build on that, touching on the challenges she might have to tackle whilst facing an American in her home country. She added, "Well, it's not my first huge match. I think it's definitely going to be a tough one. Coco is an amazing player and playing at home. I'm expecting, a big crowd to rally behind her just because she's amazing. But it's like every other match. Today I had to dig really deep, so I'm expecting that the next match I have to do even more, So I'm ready, and I'm looking forward to it, yeah." Eala's chances of going deep at Indian Wells have been boosted already after the schedulers made a smart decision regarding the placement of her upcoming doubles match with Iva Jovic. Eala proves why she's one of tennis' most clutch players. Eala never seems to make matches easy for herself, but that is part of her charm. If you're lucky enough to squeeze yourself into a stadium where she is playing, you can always expect drama. Tonight was no different. Despite taking the opening set, it was Yastremska who seemed on track to claim the victory, having won the second set and led the third by a single break. However, as she served for the match, Eala produced some of her most fearless tennis, then went on to hold serve and break again to claim the match. "Tennis, here we go again," a creative reaction from Eala. The sun beat down on the hard courts of Indian Wells with a familiar heat, dry, unrelenting, like a pulse that matched every heartbeat in the stadium. Fans filled the stands in a mosaic of anticipation and excitement. Somewhere in the back of her mind, Eala felt it before it registered, a name flashing on the upcoming match board. Coco Gauff. She stood in her locker room, racket in hand, gaze drifting toward the folded towels and untouched bottles of water. A moment earlier, her coach had walked in with the schedule. No fanfare. No hesitation. Just those 4 words she already knew too well. Next opponent, Coco Gauff. And just like that, everything tightened again. The first reaction, familiar pressure. Alex closed her eyes. The room went quiet. Then louder. "Here we go again." That line repeated itself like a beat in a song she couldn't tune out. But it wasn't dread, it was recognition. Like meeting someone you've battled before, not just around the net, but in your own head. Her first match against Coco wasn't ancient history. It wasn't a fond memory. It was a defining one. The kind that lingers in the back of your throat, as much a part of your identity as your grip on the racket. She remembered the wind at every rally, how the ball swirled unpredictably in the desert air. How Coco's serve felt like a cannon at times, but how every point Alex had stolen from her was earned with grit, precision, and unabashed confidence. And now, again. To the outside world, it might look like déjà vu. To Alex? It was another chapter. The inner dialogue begins. But, so what? Her eyes opened. The short silence after her coach left stretched out like a rally gone too long. She walked over to the mirror. What did she see? A young woman with fire in her eyes. Not fear. Not doubt. Fire. She tapped her racket handle, lightly at first, as if reminding it who was in charge. "I've grown since the last time," she thought. Her footwork was sharper. Her serve was stronger. Her mindset, more resilient. Facing Coco wasn't a punishment. It wasn't a villain to beat. It was a chance to prove, once again, that she belonged on the biggest stages. That thought alone transformed the nerves into something electric. Arrival at the stadium. Walkways buzzed with chatter. Bright banners hung proudly. Indian Wells wasn't just any event, it was the event many dream about playing. Fans from all over had gathered. Some whispered her name. Some shouted it, Eala. And some, inevitably, mentioned Coco. She's tough. She's got power. You'll need everything today. But Alex wasn't listening to the noise. She was breathing in rhythm with the moment. Walk, breathe, prepare. Her coach met her at the entrance to the court tunnel. A brief nod. No speech necessary. They'd rehearsed this, not just in practice, but mentally. She wasn't terrified. She wasn't overwhelmed. She was ready. Something had shifted since the last clash. She wasn't meeting Coco again with uncertainty. She was meeting her with expectations. Emerging into the light. The tunnel opened, and the sunlight hit her, bright, blinding, alive. The crowd roared. She lifted her visor. Each step felt like a heartbeat. Left foot, right foot, breathe. She saw Coco warming up on the other side, scanning the court, striking the ball with rhythm and confidence. There was respect in Alex's eyes. Because Coco was excellent. But Alex knew she had evolved. More variety in her shots, better tactical instincts, and an unshakable belief that she could create opportunities even against someone as elite as Gauff. Inner monologue, calm in the chaos. As the usher placed the towel at the baseline, Alex crouched for her first serve. She could hear the hum of the crowd, that silent anticipation right before a storm. This was it. She whispered to herself. 1 point at a time. Every tennis player says that. But not every player means it. She did. Because that's where champions are made, not in the scoreboard, but in the moments between the points. First serve, heartbeat sync. She tossed the ball up, and her mind went clear. Not cluttered. Not racing. Just focused. The serve zipped over. The tournament had begun. Rally after rally. The dance begins. Points came and went. Some long. Some short. Some brilliant. Some brutal. Coco unleashed her trademark power. Alex responded with precision. Backhands angled wide. Forehands punched deep. Lobs, slices, approaches, everything now had intention behind it. This wasn't a frightened player trying to survive. This was a player believing she could win. The crowd sensed it, the energy shifting, the tension rising. Each point was a story, and both players were writing chapters with every stroke. Mid-match thoughts, rising fire. Between games, Alex refocused. She didn't think about the stats. She didn't think about the past. She thought about the present. Play with purpose. Except that